So to Spaceman 2.0 with a tribute to A View from Space from Spaceman Gary Bell right there. This is going to be from 2004 once again. And it will be June 5th. And just going to go over how it's nothing new under the sun. And if you make an acronym from that, it's NUTS. Everything is nuts these days. Nothing new under the sun with the repeat history show. Suitcase nukes in the forecast for a terroristic event, and the electronic funds transfer system. So this is my pretty good. I'm thinking it is good for you. So that's my breakfast for today, and I hope you enjoyed Spaceman from 2004 and how it relates back to this day and age. And even if he knew about crypto back then, imagine what he would be saying right now if he knew what was taking place since 2018 and on. Because that's after in June, he passed away at around June at this time. And let's take it away.
90 days.
Oh, I'll start at the beginning. Sorry.
Have you seen them? Have you been surfing the net? Have you seen the ominous signs flooding the internet? That the United States government could have foreknowledge of a major attack or a disaster set to occur of the middle to the end of this month of June? The fact that Attorney General Ashcroft and former FBI Director Mueller had this high-profile terrorist attack warning last week without the approval from either Homeland Security or the White House. And it may be that the guys had insider knowledge of upcoming secret plans to stage another high-profile attack on America. It looks like something is up. The Royal Bank shut down for almost a week. No one can move their account. The money is frozen. Something like this happened just before 9/11, as vast amounts of money were poured into other accounts. The Bilderbergers are meeting. Their last day is tomorrow. George Bush, the President of the United States, was at the Vatican yesterday wearing his black, as the Pope wore his purity white, showing you that Zoroastrian mentality of the President of the United States and the Pope, the head of the Catholic Church. If I have time tonight, I'll get more into it. It's the Spaceman on Talk Radio for Guys, Mojo Radio, AM 640. There's a lot of internet chatter and rumor. And it's only known as a global event that is about to occur soon that will change everything on planet Earth. It is said that the elite rich and the government heads know something very big is coming and have been making preparations for it.
Plasma pole shift.
And some of these reports are coming from very reliable sources. The reliable sources, former FBI Director Mueller, Attorney General Ashcroft. Not maybe an attack is imminent in America. An attack is imminent in America. Some of these reports might be a little overboard, like there are rumors including a full-scale war could break out within 30 to 90 days.
And we have Iran. Totally instigated by U.S. and Israel.
What could this possibly be, this global event that's in the rumor mill on the net?
Could it be hackers?
And there are some strange activities going on that would make you believe that maybe a major event is actually on the horizon. And the government and all their officials are mum on the subject simply because they do not want to panic anyone. The government would never, in any way, shape or form, ever announce anything like a global catastrophe event for two major reasons. One, it would cause global panic, an economic collapse of the entire global economic system. And number two, the scientists' predictions might be wrong, and if they were, the catastrophe would only be multiplied because they stated that an event would happen and it didn't transpire as predicted, and the masses of people would respond with a lot of anger. And the government would lose a lot of its credibility, what it has left. So the reasoning goes, under no circumstances would a government ever announce any event, even if they knew it was imminent. Sort of like D-Day. They knew when it was going to come. They knew when they were going to call it. None of the troops did. They were just sitting, waiting for the word. And what a great cover-up that is. This 60th anniversary of D-Day, June 6, 60 years ago. 666. What a cover. What a perfect cover for the Bilderberger meetings. The elite rich meeting to plot our near future. Ronald Reagan dying. And this Royal Bank computer glitch. That is so interesting. Like I said, a lot of rumors. And here's another rumor that may tie in with the Royal Bank. Credit card fraud division.
Iran can hack them.
In the United States.
The global event.
Are warning the banks of a startling increase in credit card fraud that funnels large amounts of cash to certain individuals. And that exact same pattern occurred 3 months before 9/11. A ham radio operator picks up this sensitive transmission from a military radio net, codenamed Snowball. It was mistakenly transmitted in the clear. All stations clock sync. Impact at minus 146 days, 5 hours UTC. That's universal time. Stand by for ACD link. Then there's this burst of digital data. And Snowball, the guy that was announcing this impact at minus 146 days, 5 hours UTC, is interrupted by this guy called Burrow. He says, Snowball, this is Burrow. You are not secure. Repeat, not secure. Go green. Go green. And bursts of white noise follow for approximately 3 minutes. It sounds a lot like static, but it's actually coded digital data. What did he mean by impact at minus 146 days, 5 hours?
Now, I want you to pay attention to the similarities between now, 22 years later, with crypto in the works, 22 being Ripple's number, and him speaking about ETFS, the Electronic Funds Transfer System, or EFTS. EFT? Huh. Look at that. Right in the word.
The Federal Reserve is confirming what I've been saying about the stock market crash being falsely propped up by raising the money supply. What awful calamity do they see? Something is up. This is unprecedented. Certain individuals in the speculative markets also think something big is in the offing. And then there's this, an unprecedented total of 7 aircraft carrier strike groups being deployed simultaneously this month for training readiness exercises. The official story is that all these carrier groups are participating in Summer Pulse 04 through August, conducting joint exercises and international exercises with allies from the Americas, Europe, Africa, Australia, and Asia. But some people have been pointing out that this is very strange given the heavy commitments of ships and forces in the Middle East, the dwindling spare parts inventory, and the already scarce fuel resources that are being consumed by the military forces around the world. See, China and Russia are actually planning major exercises during the same period. And China's war games, of course, are aimed at taking control of the Taiwan Strait. Are they doing a dress rehearsal? For a nuclear confrontation with North Korea? Is China going to invade Taiwan soon? It's the Spaceman on Talk Radio for Guys, Mojo Radio AM 640. There's a lot of internet chatter and rumor concerning a global event that will occur soon, that will change everything on planet Earth.
Plasma pole shift.
Reverend
Maybe, I hope not.
Moon, the head of the Moonies, Unification Church, owner of that pro-Bush Washington Times newspaper. And this guy's been a front for the CIA, using his news organizations to influence that group of people to accept globalists' views like Bush's and the Illuminatis as one of their own. He is a person with hidden influence in the United States. He's going back to Korea this month. After living in the United States for 24 years, he's leaving. President Putin, Illuminati member, has announced he will stay away from the NATO summit meeting in Turkey this month, June, and will send a lower echelon diplomat instead to the meetings.
Putin, 22 years ago, still in charge today.
Does
very
Putin see a
eloquent,
major conflict in the near future and wants to be in the seat of power in Moscow directing the forces? Then there's this high-profile terrorist event. That's going to make 9/11 look like child's play. Possibly a suitcase nuclear attack. And believe me, they have the nuclear suitcase attack down pat. There have been a few nuclear explosions around the world that nobody seems to have keyed in on. Bali, for instance. Too deep a hole. Too much damage. That was a tiny nuclear bomb. The Korean train explosion. Another nuclear device. In Iraq, the car bombs. Some of them just blow up cars, yes, but some of those have great, huge craters underneath of the car. And the flesh is taken right off of the people inside the car. There's a burnt, charred, black, carbonated skeleton sitting at the wheel of the car. No flesh anywhere to be found. It's a nuclear flash that's peeled the skin off the bone. Suitcase and a nuke could happen in America. Is that what they're getting us ready for? Simple fact is that FEMA has already designated well over 250 cities as impact cities that might suffer severe trouble. And they've been practicing. Something is in the wind, or FEMA would not be bothering with it, nor spending millions of dollars to prepare for a non-event. Let me take a call. Hi, Ziggy, it's Mojo Radio. Talk Radio for Guys, Mojo Radio AM 640. Go right ahead.
Hey, Spaceman. Do you think there's going to be a confiscation of gold once the financial crap hits the fan, like back in the, I think it was Roosevelt?
Well, gold is where everyone runs to when they don't have any confidence in the paper money.
Yeah.
But this time around, we just want to see, because the gold market is cornered, absolutely and totally cornered. They can manipulate the price wherever they want it. They are the ones who own it all. They are the ones who are going to call the shot on how much it's worth an ounce. But listen to this. The American dollar must fall and be replaced by the euro. So I could see that happening in the very near future.
Now listen up. He passed away 2018, so he hasn't taken into consideration really about crypto so much, but he knows about electronic transfer systems. So check this out. He says they want to crash the US dollar to move them to the euro, which is really the Amero as well for here, US, Canada, Mexico. But listen up.
Sure. A run on the American dollar to wipe it out so that everyone starts to invest in euros. And that's why I think the euro was actually created 2 years ago, for that very purpose of replacing the American dollar. Then from there, from the euro, we'll go to the electronic funds transfer system after all hell breaks loose.
Now say that fast. Electronic funds transfer system. And now put it in an acronym. EFTS. EFT. Check out an XRP EFT is going on right now. You just can't make this stuff up.
That's where I feel it is. I don't think gold has really any kind of future.
And for those out there who don't know how 22 is related back to Ripple, well, Ripple is about making ripples around the world with all the banks they're connected with besides XPR. But Ripple, let's just focus on that for a second. Connected around the world. How is it connected to 22? 22 is the addition of 589. 589 is what everyone's anticipating Ripple to go to. But 589, we all know, is a code for 5 times 8 times 9 is 360. 360 degrees to a circle or around the world. So that's being said, that's how you get 22, 589. And 22 is the builder's number. And 36 is 666 in code by 1 plus 2 plus 3. All the way up to 36 equals 666. So it's all hidden in plain sight, but Spaceman with his forewarning and knowledge and understanding has said this 22 years ago.
At all, because I believe it's all totally cornered. Just like the silver was cornered a few years ago, gold has to go to the
Now, I don't always agree with everything he says about maybe silver and gold not going up and this and that, but they could do a rug pull on silver, having it gone up so high to 150, back down to 100. Who knows what's going to go on?
Electronic funds transfers for that very purpose of replacing the American dollar. Then from there, from the euro, we'll go to the electronic funds transfer system after all hell breaks loose. That's where I feel it is. I don't think gold has really any kind of future at all, because I believe it's all totally cornered. Just like the silver was cornered a few years ago by a few guys in the States. Owned it.
In the 80s, it was the Hunt brothers. They cornered the silver market and made it go up, and then it crashed back down. But that's only because two guys bought up all this supply. Right now, it's a whole different story, which he hasn't taken into consideration how all these EV cars have been coming along. Each one needs 5 ounces of silver in it. We got deals going on in China, bringing EV cars over to Canada and all this stuff. Plus, in every Tomahawk missile used for wars, 250 ounces of silver in each Tomahawk missile, I believe. So you do the math.
Every ounce.
It's going to go up with supply and demand, I believe, silver. But this is not financial advice.
Of it all. And manipulated the price. And I think this time, instead of what they did with the silver, when they manipulated the price to make it go higher and make more money, I think they're going to drop the price on gold. And I'm thinking that the euro is the next big currency, the one that will replace the American dollar. What do you think, Ziggy?
So you're saying even precious metals are going to lose value?
Right. Simply because they're not going to be worth anything to anybody, because you know what? You can't eat silver. You can't eat gold. And food is what people are going to want.
Yeah.
I should call Ziggy. Hi, it's Steve. You're on with the Spaceman. It's Talk Radio for Guys, Mojo Radio, AM 640. What a weekend, huh?
Hey, Spaceman, how are you? Yeah, great weekend. How are you?
Good.
Good. Yeah, I just want to comment on, you made a comment that China might invade Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? That's common, right?
Well, here's the scenario.
Okay.
China has said that if Taiwan has a referendum to secede from China and go and be a sovereign nation unto itself, they will attack.
Okay, now
Taiwan has said, now listen, Taiwan has said, the Taiwanese leader has said that he is going to hold a referendum in 2008. 2008 is when China has the Olympics, the Summer Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
You could see China giving up the Olympics to attack Taiwan. You could see the United States stretched so thin on her Navy and her Air Force and her Army that she cannot send enough ships into the Taiwanese Strait to curtail or to stop that Chinese invasion. And that possibly could be what I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about the 7 aircraft carrier strike groups being deployed for training readiness exercises. And it just happens to be when Russia and China are also doing it. So maybe they're doing a dress rehearsal here.
You believe that America will get involved?
They have to get involved.
Yeah,
because you see, that's how you're going to bring down America's sovereignty. America has to lose her sovereignty.
No, I think Bush would send Americans over, because I know
of course he would.
Yeah, because I know that Bush likes Bush. And
now also remember, taking consideration silver, probably the reason why they have this silver rule number 7, but they have that COMEX rule 589, which has to do with silver and commodities not being sold and continuously uppriced throughout the night. They have a stoppage or stop price that they have to go to, and then they continue on, and you can only go up by a certain amount for a certain amount throughout the day. So it has to do with this kind of causing this crash to not happen again. It's called COMEX rule 589.
I think he wants to go over there, send his troops over there to get some Taiwan Bush. That's what. You don't agree?
Well, here's the thing. He's already said that he is going to attack China if they bother Taiwan. Remember, there's a lot of American companies that are in Taiwan.
Oh, I know. I think Bush is going to send people over to get the companies Bushes too. I think he just wants Bush.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Jim, you're on with the Spaceman. Jim, go ahead. You're on Talk Radio for Guys, Mojo Radio AM 640. You're right ahead.
All right, Gary.
Good.
Just want to talk to you about, you're talking about precious metals and commodities.
Sure.
Water is going to be a very, very important commodity.
Isn't it ever?
And if you think about it, you're paying 60, 70 cents a liter for water, almost the same price as gasoline. Think about what goes into water to bring it to your home and what goes into gasoline to bring it to your home. Do you know what I'm saying here?
I hear you. Loud and clear, Jim. And I never drink bottled water. I drink it out of the tap.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess a matter of taste, I guess. But
hey, you know what? Evian, one of the great, huge companies, water companies. Evian spelled backwards is naive.
Could be.
No, it's not. Could be. It is. Yeah.
Bizarre. You think we're getting close to the big event, do you?
Well, there's a lot of chatter. Is all I'm saying tonight, Jim. There's a lot of chatter, and it all seems to be coming from official positions that are telling us this. It's not just some hearsay or some guy making it up. These are figureheads, heads of, the former head of the FBI, John Ashcroft, were on television last week doing this very same thing that I'm saying now. An attack is imminent. So I'm just echoing that. But I'm also putting some other pieces together of the puzzle, like Russia and China with their military exercises.
Yep.
And with the United States moving 7 aircraft carrier strike groups. They don't have that. They don't have that kind of power, of force. They don't have the numbers. They can't afford to do this trading readiness exercise.
That's right. I sent you an email last week on Homeland Security in the States. For years now, they're preparing in every major city large fenced areas. Did you get that email?
Yes, I did, sir.
Yeah, and this is to prevent mass crowds. When they start to get people panicking, they're going to be putting them in huge fenced areas. And when they become, I guess when martial law comes down,
that's after the next terrorist attack, I believe, because the next one will be that big.
Yeah.
They might even have to suspend the elections.
So they've been building these huge fenced areas in all cities. And this is Homeland Security and, I guess, the Army. So that's kind of an interesting thing that's been going on, and people don't know why they're there.
Have you heard of the stop loss bill?
No.
All right, if you're, they got to stop the loss of their troops. All right, that are.
Okay, let's get into this. They're creating these huge containment areas. Well, check out data centers. Check out the images of data centers, and you'll see these buildings. Look how high the walls are. The fenced areas in around forest areas, but lots of fencing. No windows in the walls all the way up. Some of these data centers are housing human brain tissue to actually power and program its computers, quantum computers working with brain tissue. Now, look it up if you don't believe me. They have their own electrical generator plants. Look at that. Right there. So you can't knock the power out unless you knock that out, I guess. And then look how big these walls are with nothing. So with that being said, what's going on? Can these places be made into containment centers? Right? For those who disagree with any new system coming on board. And what happened to be mindful of this 589, how does it work? Let's check it out. I think I figured out why they call it 589 as well, the true meaning. But I can't figure out the total meaning for the 9 part. But the rule functions by monitoring lead month primary futures contracts, such as gold, silver, and copper, for sudden price surges or drops. If a contract hits the initial price fluctuation limit, a 5-minute monitoring period begins. If the limit persists, trading is halted for 2 minutes, and the price limits are expanded by an additional increment. This process repeats for up to 4 limits adjustments per trading day before no further special limits are applied. So your riddle for today is, where's 589 in this little paragraph here? We got 5-minute monitoring period. Okay, there's the 5. And we got a 2 and we got a 4. I know 2 times 4 is 8, so there's your 8, I believe. So we have a 5 and 8, and if anyone can help me out, leave a comment down below if you like, and tell me where that 9 is. But that's just something interesting. But now you know what the COMEX rule is all about. It applies to primary metal contracts, including gold, silver, and copper, as well as their associated options. Metals, remember, don't need to talk about proton and metal blockchain because it's written all over in plain sight.
Say sign up for 5 years, and if you're in Iraq right now and your time is up, like your 5 years is complete, you can't go home. You have to stay until your unit comes back to the States. If you're in the States right now and in a unit that is designated to be in Iraq in a couple of months and your time has run out and your hitch is up, you still cannot leave. You must do the tour of duty before you can be let go from the Army in the United States. That's called the stop loss legislation, just passed last week, stopping soldiers from walking away after their hitch is up, if they're designated or earmarked to be a part of the effort in Iraq.
Wow. They're going to start recruiting, though, aren't they?
I believe that the draft is coming in next spring, in 2005, after this Senator Hagel, I believe his name is Hagel, who, by the way, Illuminati member who owns the ES&S touchscreen voting system that the Americans are going to be voting on in November.
Great.
He owns that system. They've got him to stand up and say, everyone has to pay their fair share. In other words, give us your sons. We've got a sacrifice over in Iraq here, and we need bodies.
Do you hear that? Let's just look at this up. The draft. He's talking about the draft coming back in because they're sending people over to Iraq. And what do we have now? They want to send people over to Iran. And what's going on in Germany right now? Men between the ages of 17 and 45 cannot leave their country without some sort of, or for more than 3 months, without sort of some letter or something from the government and the military. But they're reinstating basically this so-called voluntary draft, but then it's going to go on a lottery-based system if they need it. But they want to increase their soldiers from, I believe, 180,000 to 260,000. By the year 2035. So what are they planning, people? Germany is not reinstating a peaceful peacetime draft, but is moving toward a system where compulsory service could be reactivated, specifically during wartime. Well, isn't that draft, basically? It's just wording, right?
And those machines are fixed, right? They can
Well, I believe they are, and I'm going to do a show on it if there is an election, if we get close to it. With the Canadian election, it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's kind of strange, isn't it?
Well, you know what? You know what probably happened? Those machines are fixed. They can control the votes. I'll bet you those are the ones they borrowed when they had McGuinty go against, what's his name? And McGuinty won.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably how he won. Because I don't think anybody would vote for somebody that tells you he's going to raise your taxes and do all these nasty things, and then you got...
With touchscreen voting, there is no paper trail.
I know. They can
They
control
can't trace your vote. You can't go back and get the thing you marked.
Yep.
Or the thing that you punched.
Yep. It's fully controllable.
And ES&S is going to be counting about 80% of America's ballots.
Yep.
That was the company, by the way, that was in operation in Florida with George W. beating Gore there.
That's correct. I heard a show on it, and some of the writers that write the software on there, and they're saying it's not foolproof.
Oh, of course not. No, I have the show ready to do on ESNS. It's all ready to go. And
But now they're going to bring out blockchain voting, where it is fully transparent and unhackable, and therefore that's what the governments are really worried about, is us being able to track every dollar, every dime, every place these guys go, and what they're using our money on, all the systems, and we can then vote, and it can be part of a DAO as well, where the people are now being the decentralized automated organization, right? Because we are the tail that wags the dog, or we're the dog that wags the tail. Watch that movie with Dustin Hoffman back in the 80s, and Michael J. Fox, I believe. The tail wags the dog. The tail that wags the dog, or something like that. Check it out. Fully makes sense how all the media is controlled just to get us steered in the right direction. He's talking about Hegel. Hegel is a name that goes back to German dialect, that they came up with the Hegelian dialect, which is problem, reaction, solution. It's basically you create a thesis, create an antithesis, and then you create a synthesis to get someone steered towards their synthesis, which is putting these, let's say these X-ray cameras in the airports. You already have them made and operated and ready to go and ready to be shipped out in March. So you have an event that happens in February or January where this guy blows up his underwear on the plane, and they say, oh, this underwear bomber, go check it out, the underwear bomber. And everyone made fun of him, almost blowing his nuts off or whatever he did. But it's all for show, so they can create a problem, reaction, solution. We all know this. This is, kindergarten, how they steer man. But now we know it, and it's so simple, but it works every time. So you don't talk about what you want. You talk about something for, theses and antitheses, something against. People start to digest both concepts, and then they say, okay, yeah, I'll accept something in the middle.
We'll be explaining exactly how your vote goes in and what happens to it once it gets in, and how they can change it and cover up the trail. I thank you for your call, Jim.
I'll let you finish the show. Have fun.
All right. It's the Spaceman on Talk Radio for Guys, Mojo Radio, AM 640. I got a light open. Man.
This is why I feel like in the book of Revelations, I believe there's some place that says the little beast will defeat the big beast. That means to me, the little beast being the computer adds up to 666 in gematria. Therefore, you have the little beast through blockchain and AI technology used for good can defeat the big beast, which is the system, Babylon, the whole beast system. And that's why they have that guy, what's his name, Mr. Beast, trying to take over the internet with all his showings, and basically he's just controlling the little kids' minds through certain formulas like they do to us in Hollywood.
I'll take your calls. When someone hangs up, get a line, 416-870-6400, star 640. Right now the lines are full. Hi, go ahead, George, you're on.
Well, nothing like a good war to get people thinking, eh?
Yeah.
So some things I'd like to bring up, just on the rumor mill news. This is just from a personal friend of mine. He's from China. His parents are in the Chinese government. He was teasing me last month about the war that's to come, and then it'll be very, very soon. And so there's another rumor for you.
Yeah.
That on SPACEWar.com, my favorite little newspaper, they had an interesting piece. China, Pakistan, and India are going to form a common nuclear policy. So obviously they're all going to be on the same team to look after their part of the continent.
Mm-hmm.
Will that entail taking on the United Snakes of America? That's difficult to say. Are you familiar with that explosion that happened over the Puget Sound Naval Base Thursday morning?
Yep.
I was doing a little searching in there. And
a lot of meteor sightings around there, too.
Yes, that's
accompanied by loud.
So back to the Iraq War in 2004. Now, remember, after this show, 2004, June 5th, this is June 28, 2004, the conflict intensified with the Second Battle of Fallujah, Operation Phantom Fury. What are they going into Iraq with? Operation Epic, something like that. Epic Fury. You just can't make this stuff up. I put out a post with, Nick Fury's picture on there, I believe, making kind of an illustration about this Fallujah and stuff. But Fallujah in 2004, 22 years ago, Phantom Fury, and now we're going into Operation Epic Fury. So you see how you can't make this stuff up. There's nothing new under the sun, just history repeating itself, as Spaceman always used to say. And what do we have? There was this in Fallujah where they killed soldiers, U.S. soldiers, and dragged 4 of them through the street. And they hung them from the bridge over the Euphrates River, which was illustration to their way they appease their gods over bridges and feed the giants before, something like that, and to their god Esther or Ishtar or Semiramis and all that stuff. So very interesting. What did Operation Epic Fury? Phantom Fury, Epic Fury go on right now with Iran. They blew up a bridge in Iran, one of their main bridges, right? And we already went into this, what Ripple is, world's bridge currency.
Explosions.
So there was one last year.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found some other interesting stuff. The American government monitors that area like there's no tomorrow. The U.S. Geological Survey, they monitor ground space. They have all kinds of 3D graphs on their internet site there that you can download and look at. A lot of it's beyond my comprehension, but it's just amazing. But another interesting thing that I found...
Well, a lot of that sometimes, George, and I think with a very intelligent person like yourself, when it becomes a little mind-boggling to you, that's exactly what they have in mind, just to throw so much scientific data at you that you get confused to go, oh, they must know what they're doing.
Well, I don't think
that's
they know what
that's
they're
a
doing.
little black magic there.
Well, what I do see is, I would speculate that they're testing HAARP there.
Yeah.
And that the meteors is just a load of hooey just to keep us pacified.
Oh, yeah.
For this explosion to be seen 550 miles into northern B.C. and as far east as Idaho, that's a hell of a pop. But an interesting thing I found out in that area, there's a 20 to 25-fold...
This is in the atmosphere, by the way, these explosions,
yes.
Right? They are not on the ground.
No. And HAARP is in the atmosphere.
Right.
And meteors explode when they have gas balls inside. And that's very unusual for them to happen. It's a very rare event. But why don't they happen in other places? But there's a 20 to 25-fold increase in leukemia in and around the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. So obviously there's something going on there that I don't think meteors would be causing leukemia. So they must be doing something a little more advanced. But in our own backyard, we have our election coming up. And a lot of people don't follow the Bilderberg meetings. They're an annual event too. But the Toronto Sun last year, Thursday, May 15th, 2003, you see a reasonable sized article buried in the middle somewhere. Harper invited to elite retreat. So at that time, he's just the head of this, mediocre alliance party. And he goes there with Jean Chrétien. And as soon as I saw that, I knew the winds of change have happened. Things have been decided.
Harper's our new leader.
He's our new leader. As soon as I saw the picture there, they picked him. He's handpicked to be our master. Chrétien decided to retire immediately after leaving the Bilderberg retreat. The two factions of conservatism.
So Jean Chrétien, he moved out as Harper came in. And in 2010, what did Harper do? He went to the G20 meeting downtown where they penned a lot of Canadians up for walking on the street with their dog too close to where all these elites were flying into with their fences all around them. And they were still afraid. And what did Harper say when he came out of that meeting? Canada, we've lost our sovereignty, but that's okay. And now you know what he truly meant, because we're going into the Amero people. U.S., Canada, Mexico are going to amalgamate with $1, but the U.S. dollar will be made to look like, with all this digital stuff, you can amalgamate it and mix it up, and actually you don't even have to, and it's all the same thing. You can make it still look like it's separate, and they're still similarly on the same system. So, welcome to the New World Order, and we're trying to fight totalitarianism right now with exposing the New World Order.
The alliance and the
they probably told him
immediately merge. Exactly.
Yeah, they told him it was over, and Paul Martin takes the fall.
Well, actually, it's beyond taking the fall. I think he's the guy to throw the monkey wrench in the works. So the liberal strategists are to look like goofs, so that way Harper will only have good press. And they're hoping that, depending on how bad a job the Liberals do, but if we know what they're up to, then we don't have to exactly vote for the man that they've already picked for us in advance. So I would advise a lot of Canadians to say, well, do I want the man that the people who want to destroy me want, or do I want somebody else? If you saw Thursday's Globe and Mail, Judy Scrooge in there as one of those ministers who's hounding Mr. Harper. and she's standing in front of a billboard picture of him. That's all you see is his eyes on top of her head.
Mm-hmm.
Look into those eyes and tell me, is that Charles Manson or is that Stephen Harper? I don't think I've ever seen such evil eyes in a human being in my life. He is just so sinister. Even people that don't know anything about what's going on or what's going on behind the scenes, you know, they were just flabbergasted how evil his eyes are. And this man is, you know, if someone's opened the sewer grate to hell, he has a lot of secret agendas. One is, we are going to join the United States. He's going to finish off what Mulrooney wanted. So sacrifice your children, people, because he's going to do it for you. He's going to send our young ones to all these stupid American wars. And the thing that saddens me is a lot of the support in the Conservative Party is from the so-called shooting or gun fraternity, because they figure, well, he's going to get rid of the firearms registry. They already know what you got, as if they're going to destroy the record. So, you know, dream on. What, you know, that's just you know, some sort of a joke, really, because if you think you're going to get the Second Amendment when you join the United States, as soon as countries join, you write a new constitution. I can guarantee you anything of value in there that we have, whether it be a Second Amendment or various protections and rights, is going to disappear. The biggest thing that's going to disappear is your Constitution won't be God-given rights. They'll just be rights that are established by a Parliament or Senate or whatever. And they can always get together late Saturday night after the bar fest and say, you know what, they got to go. So everybody's drafted, everybody goes rounded up into concentration camps. Whatever they want to change it into, they can, because they'll be the new gods as the heads of state. So don't think for a minute that Mr. Harper is going to do us any favors. It's this scandal,
Concentration camps?
You know, the sponsorship scandal, that was known for years. Why all of a sudden,
data centers.
like 3 years old, and NNUTS has been the ambassador to Denmark for a good long time, is it back in the news? Because it was manufactured that way.
Yes, that's how you get Harper into power.
Exactly. So, you know, like I say, people.
Right? Data centers. Are those the new prisons? I can go into areas where warehouses and stuff out of Toronto, a couple hours away in other small towns. These warehouses for Target and stuff have fences around them with barbed wire basically facing inward. Okay, not to keep people out, it's to keep people in if they're facing inward. Now, that's a prison. That's a prison. That's a data center. And that's a data center. And they're starting to data center people's brains, or supposedly man-made brains. Who knows what they're doing on in labs, but I'm sure they're getting someone's brain tissue somewhere.
Don't vote for the devil. Pick your own devil. Personally, I recommend you vote for the, you know, most unknown or candidates you can find, because he's just the boy or girl next door. And you got a 50-50 chance of picking somebody good. The mainstream parties, you got pretty much a 95 to 100% chance of picking another loser.
Yeah, why do we do that, George? What?
And thanks for all my subscribers and those who tuned in and been watching. I don't know how many people. It's always kind of suppressed on the numbers and stuff. But thank you, Nelly, 8888. Appreciate that. I used to have a phone number with a lot of 8s in it. I wish I never gave that up. 888-8844. It was really good. Even the 44s add up to an 8, but I'll let that go.
Do we do that when we don't want either of the guys on the ballot, and we still go and we close we hold our nose and mark one of those guys in? Why do we do that?
That I can't understand. Like, one of the analogies I use to people is like finding news. If you went to the well and the well was poisoned,
yeah,
why would you go back?
Really?
You already know it's poison,
right.
So you're thirsty. Well,
yeah,
you know that well's
I
poison. We got to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the big changes that I remember, being a little older than maybe a few of your listeners, I remember when I was taking my law and civics courses in high school, we were taught about how elections work. The ballots used to be white, and the names on them were black.
Yeah.
And you had the right to write any name in there you chose.
Now it's flipped. You can't write on black.
You notice that too, eh?
Yes, sir. You got
So
a
you
black
can only,
background and white lettering.
Well, there's ways to get around it. Invest in a little bottle of liquid paper.
There's an idea.
Take it into the
Interesting.
box or
Listen to
light
this
chalk or
stuff.
whatever you want to find. Bring in your own writing implement and put in the names that you want on there. But that
Before you can write in anyone's name. Now they don't let you by making the paper black with white lettering. Very interesting. And now they're even making it harder to change it up.
even though it's like a snowball's chance in hell, no pun intended to your earlier part, that some, a whole lot of people are going to pick an alternate name to get elected to office. But that was your right and your privilege, and it was taken away by just reversing the color on the ballot. And it's just sickening. I know, even though I didn't know anything about conspiracy or what's going on, I remember my first election when I saw that the ballot was black. I was like, well, what kind of crap is this? So it just slapped me in the face that, I'm pretty much wasting my time here because I can only vote for one of the prearranged candidates. So, I highly recommend to people, find the underdog. Any underdog you can find. Independents, small parties, the Green Party, the Canadian Action Party, whatever's on your ballot that's off the mainstream. And we got to teach these bastards a lesson once, that we decide our destiny and we pick our future. We don't, we're not the slightest bit interested in what the Bilderbergers have to say and who they want to pick. We got enough vassals in there. Like, if Belinda Stronach is going to be our, Ilsa of the SS or something like that, like, my God in heaven, people, wake up. Vote for a stray dog or something like that, but don't pick a lot of these losers again. Like, that's all we got to choose from is traitors and thieves. And then, I guess the clean-cut guy is Mr. Layton, and we can have some socialism or something like that. But even that's still heading for a world government under the United Nations. So, okay, so I get shot by a fascist or a communist or some other guy takes my pants. But
there's a man who's really in love with his mind, really, and that's about it.
That's about it. So, I don't know, it's an ominous sign that 7 task forces are going to put to sea. To put all your eggs in one basket in a time of crisis is a very, very, very risky thing. So, and, that's something that's just earth-shattering. I remember last year when the Russians put to sea, was the first time in 25 or 30 years, 2 major fleets rendezvoused in the Indian Ocean to do maneuvers with the Indian Navy, which is a hell of a Navy nowadays. And, that's just shocking. And the reason they did it was because Mr. Bush was on his Mideast adventure. And I guess they were just showing the flag to say, hey, look, if we got to take you out, we'll take you out. Don't get carried away. But watch where the fleets go. Before they went into the Middle East and Afghanistan, the Royal Navy sailed 2 weeks before they even decided they were going to go to Afghanistan. Right. They have to pre-position these forces long in advance because they take a little while to get there.
It takes a while to get there, that's right.
So watch the fleets. If you're on the internet or you're checking other countries' stuff, like some of the major navies, if you speak Chinese and you're looking through Chinese newspapers or you're looking through the Indian news.
So check this out. The Bilderberg Group, they brought in Pierre Trudeau into Canadian politics, Paul Martin, and then Jean Chrétien. Okay, so Harper went after Jean Chrétien, and then he became the next appointed prime minister. Appointed because even though we vote, it seems not to make a difference, right?
Papers or the Russian newspapers, they'll tell you a little bit about what's cooking. So when you hear where the fleets are going, tell the rest of us, because that'll be a major warning that it's coming down very, very soon. It might give it newspapers on the internet, or you're checking.
So you hear what he said? He said, check the other newspapers. This is before the internet was fully on board and everyone's into it. But check the other Russian newspapers, check the British newspapers, check Japanese newspapers, and you'll get a better picture of what's taking place in the world.
Other country stuff, like some of the major navies, if you speak Chinese and you're looking through Chinese newspapers or you're looking through the Indian newspapers or the Russian newspapers, they'll tell you a little bit about what's cooking. So when you hear where the fleets are going, tell the rest of us, because that'll be a major warning that it's coming down very, very soon. It might give us a week or two to put our helmets on.
Happy to have you on, George. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Spaceman. You're a breath of fresh air.
It's Talk Radio for Guys, Mojo Radio.
So I'm going to have this on for another few minutes. I'm going to let you go after an hour. Thank you for participating and watching and getting enlightened with a little bit more information. How 22 years ago we have the same shit, different bucket, right? Same, but different, as they say in Thailand. Nothing new under the sun, just history repeating itself. with a little bit updating with the EFT, ETFS system, EFTS system.
And 640.
It's a view from space. You got a view? I'll listen. 416-870-6400, star 640.
So you know that number doesn't work because that's back in the day with Spaceman 2004, no longer with us, passed away 2018. God rest his soul. He gave us a lot of insight into true history and what's going on in the daily news. We're all looking forward to listening to his show.
640.
So there's a lot of internet chatter. There's a lot of rumors concerning a global event that is to occur soon that is going to change everything on planet Earth. I wonder what that global event could be.
So stay tuned for part 2 to AVFS 2004-06-05 and how it relates to this global event and how they can actually do what? They can blame now the Iranians for hacking all the Visa cards and everyone can't use their Visa one day and stuff like that, or like different people are saying, and different scenarios that can play out as a global event. Or will it be a suitcase nuke somewhere? As Spaceman already said, they've shown us those in the roadside bombs and things like that, where things were burnt to such a crisp that it wouldn't be possible without something. And what did they do? Look what Gaza looks like. Actually, 2 Hiroshima bombs went off supposedly there in terms of all the bombings that took place. I'm sure they fine-tuned out those nuclear devices so you don't just have a huge explosion. You can actually control it to a certain degree, and then the fallout of that is minimal with and stuff like that, and then they don't even go in there for another 6 months because they know it has that short life. Who knows? But they don't give a crap about the people who've been decimated by those little bombs. So who knows what's going on? But we know technology is 100 years behind from what they're 100 years ahead of what we are. We're 100 years behind in knowledge of what technology is available.
We've already covered how 7 fleets of the American Navy are out on training exercises. The Chinese are also. The Russians are also.
And they're talking about the Strait of Taiwan. Now we're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. You just can't make this stuff up.
George Tenet, the director of the CIA, announces his resignation just a few days ago. And let's face it, you and I know he didn't just quit. No one quits this close to an election with rumors of an imminent attack on America, and your CIA director is throwing in the towel? No, he was pushed out. Maybe this sudden event, which will be very violent in the coming weeks or months, is the reason why George Tenet is leaving. Did you know MI6 also changed their leader May 6th, not long ago, 3 weeks ago?
Check out this very interesting coincidence with the Strait of Hormuz and the Strait of Taiwan. So we have Japan there, Taiwan right there. You see that line? Now I'm going to go over, and you have that line right there. And there's the Strait of Hormuz. About the same distance up from that line, about 36 degrees, I believe, because they have Jerusalem at 33 or something like that. So if that's 33, then you have the Strait of Hormuz at about 36 degrees, which is a 666. And they're talking about 22 years ago, the Strait of Taiwan, similar in degrees. So hence it's a ritual as well.
John Scarlett is now head of MI6, which is the CIA equivalent in Britain. Scarlett was one of the guys that was heavily involved in the David Kelly suicide / or murder. And now, since he's gotten rid of the problem, he's been given the top job. There are a lot of changes going on, and more to come. And it looks like they want to affect our life with it. Look at the way the Royal Bank patrons, the customers of the Royal Bank, this week have been affected. What kind of a situation, if we had a cyber attack,
Listen up.
would we be facing? With no one able to get anything out of any ATM anywhere.
There you go.
None of your cards would work. You think the grocery stores are going to give their groceries away?
Then
Hi,
you
John.
say,
Talk Radio for Guys, Mojo Radio, AM 640. You're on with Space.
Good evening. I would say don't worry about China's space. Their overheating economy will soon put them in a tame position. The only thing, they're moving west with the highways that they're building towards the Middle East. I'm pretty aware that they're aware that oil's peaking. There are those warnings in the 70s that they said they're going to run out of oil.
2004, remember? Chinese have been, in 2020 time, they've been building bridges and roads and stuff all in Panama or all in America and stuff like that, taking over ports and stuff like that. We all know this. The Chinese have been building everywhere. And now he just said that they're building in the Middle East. Roads going into the Middle East.
Happening now. I mean,
Well,
for everyone,
they're a fake shortage, John, I believe.
it could be a fake shortage.
Oh, yes.
Or it could be,
Well, that's how you get people off their tush, isn't it?
well, of course. Well,
Welcome to the new shortage happening in the fall with the fertilizer crisis because of the Strait of Hormuz, right? They don't really talk about that. They just talk about oil causing the price of goods to go up. But when the goods are diminished because there's not enough, especially to go around in Asia and parts of Africa, they can be using that for the Club of Rome to call society, basically, to diminish the population, not only growth, but, call about 2 billion people off the planet by starvation. Kind of like a macro Gaza starvation that they're not letting in any foodstuffs into them. But they're surrounded by trucks that have more food to feed all of them in Gaza for more than 3 months. They can eat 3-4 times a day for 3 months if they let all those food trucks in that are actually right outside the fences in Gaza. That's how they're, oh man, it's just evil.
alternative energy is another topic, but I'd be worried about those $50 bills that you can't cash in anywhere.
Right.
And I'd be certainly worried about those attacks that happen on foreign workers, because if they start into the infrastructure in Saudi Arabia, watch for oil probably hit, $50 a barrel?
Yes.
Watch for some inflation.
I'm thinking 60 before it's all done.
Oh, probably 60. And another thing, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger,
60 and now we're over 100.
out there in California, in April, apparently he called off some of those Homeland Security National Guards that were hanging around the Golden Gate Bridge. So perhaps something may happen there. The Golden Gate Terminator Bridge scene. I don't know. Possibly. I heard that from somebody. So perhaps.
Listen up, crypto people.
The Golden Gate Terminator Bridge scene. I don't know. Possibly. I heard that from somebody.
What about Congress? Where the people's representatives are? That would actually do this, John. If there was an attack there, say like a suitcase nuke that they used in Bali, or the one that they used in Madrid for the trains, What if that was used on Congress? You could suspend elections for as long as you wanted. I would expect there, and martial law would be no problem with anybody in America.
And you have absolutely no trouble with the Senate passing any emergency bills because the Senate is not really representative of America.
So I'll leave that there. We have Comics Rule 589. Check it out. 5 minutes, 2 times 4. Where does the 9 come from? We have data centers that look like prisons. Okay, and even some of these places that are supposedly warehouses up north and stuff have, or not even up north, just a little bit outside the city, have fences that face in with their barbed wire. Of course, you know about the Bilderberg group and how you go to that and you're put on like the WAF group and you're basically a leader after that of any of the so-called free world. Remember that 4 U.S. soldiers were hung from a bridge in the Fallujah thing, I believe that around the same time, and they were doing that over the Euphrates, and they called it Operation Epic Phantom Fury. And then they have Iranian bridge blown up recently by the U.S. in Operation Epic Fury. And you have the Hunt brothers that basically cornered the silver market. And I wonder if Elon Musk's trying to corner all of the silver mines out there so he can have his EV cars produced for the rest of his generations to come without paying a dime on silver anymore. So with that being said, may you give a tribute to Spaceman Gary Bell for giving out this wonderful information for so long every Saturday night. And when you listen to it, you can see the exact similarities to how it's playing out today in a very similar way. Spaceman 2.0, hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you enjoyed this little breakfast Saturday morning show on April 11th, 2026. And we're all waiting for our crypto bridge currencies to come into effect, supporting metal blockchain, and we're making ripples across the universe. So we're going to finish off with this one later on, maybe later on today, another hour, and see how it has similarities again with today's day and age. Thanks again for tuning in to all my subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a great day, and remember, the truth will make you free. Spaceman 2.0, and out.